Welcome to the fourth video in the series. In this video, I'll be showing how to make AI girls. We're going to be using something called Runpod. So we'll be using their GPU and cloud services. I will do a blog on how to set it up locally. But for now, let's just get into this video and get things up and running. So here I am logged in. If you don't have an account, you will have to create one, which is pretty straightforward. So first of all, we're going to need to download Runpod CLT, something that you're going to need later. So if you come over to GitHub, depending on what operating system you're using. At this minute, I'm using Windows. So you copy that, come into Windows, type PowerShell, right click, and then it should download. So if you then type Runpod CTL, you should see comes up the commands, which means it's installed. So then in your Runpod, you want to go to settings, API keys, create API, and you can name it what you want. In CMD, you want to put API key. Now, you may get an error message, just like I'm getting here, but it doesn't matter. Normally, it should still work. It still works on my one because I checked it. Same thing could happen on Ubuntu or maybe even a Mac, but it's fine to continue. So before we start with the pods, I thought I would bring you over to savitiai.com. This is where I got the models files from, which you will need in order to create some of the pictures. And this is just one method. You can use other ways, but I'm just showing you this one because this is the one I used. You have to sign up in order to gain access to the models, and then you have to go to settings, and then down to the content moderation. You have to click on some of the browser levels that you want. See more nudity, if that's what you want. So over here, I've clicked from this image. Over here is the checkpoint. This is normally the main model, and here is the LoRa. This normally aids whatever you ask for in your prompt. It normally helps it carry out that task, and these can be very different depending on what kind of picture you're trying to create. Now, when it comes to the ones I'm going to be showing, I probably can't click on the page of the one that I want to show just because it normally comes up with nudity and YouTube won't allow it. And so I will be creating a blog where it will aid in this video if you want to create things that are a bit more explicit, but I can't show that here, but I will make sure that it will make sense. So now you come over to pods, and this is where the pods, don't forget that you're going to need some money. If you go to billings, and there'll be an option to pay with card or Bitcoin, and you can put some money in. Here are the pods you can choose from. Normally the RTX 490 is quite a good one. So is the L4 for this one, I reckon, Stable Diffusion that we're going to be using. So for this one, I will pick the L4. If you, it was already picked for me, but if you come over here and type in, and then it'll be this one, 1021 Stable Diffusion, and then click deploy on demand. This is where it will start to build the pod. You check the log file. This could take up to 15 to 25 minutes. Keep that in mind. So when it's finished, it should look a bit something like this. And you could go connect. Sometimes it'll say ready, sometimes not, but you can try it by clicking on it, and then it should load up just like this. If it's not ready, you might see something like this. Another page will open up with something else on it, but that means you just have to wait a bit longer until it's ready. So before you start using Stable Diffusion, what you want to do is go connect and start web terminal, open a web terminal, and then you could follow along with what I do. CD into Stable Diffusion web UI, CD models, and CD into Stable Diffusion. Here you'll see some models already put in here, but we want to upload Cyberpony. We got that from CBTAI, and so you want to come into the directory where your Runpod is. Load up CMD dir. Send Cyber Realistic Pony V11. That might change by the time you watch this, but it'll be something. And then once you press enter, wait for a few minutes, it will come up with a another line for you to put in the other side. And so you copy this, paste it in, and then it'll start downloading into that folder, which is a lot more easy. This one is 6.5, so it might take a little while. The other ones, the LoRa's, they're normally a bit quicker. Okay, so once that one's finished, You want to go back out of the folder, CD into LoRa's, come back to your CMD, and then send the next one. And that one goes into the LoRa folder. Now there's normally loads of different ones LoRa's you can choose from. I'm just doing this as an example. So you can CD back out, CD into VAE, and then you want this. Then once that one's done, CD back out, that to Web UI, then CD into embeddings, and then you want negative and the positive, both of them two in this folder. So once that's done, you can close that down, go back to connect, then it will be loaded up. Sometimes you won't always see it straight away, so you have to hit the refresh button, and then you see Cyber Pony. Might take a few seconds to load up. So here I put in a couple of prompts that I saved from earlier, just something basic to show you. Here's the Cyber Realistic Pony positive one. This makes the picture more a positive picture, less any errors. And here's the negative, so it helps keep the negative out. And here's the dramatic lighter slider. You could put 2.1, 2.2, you can change it to wherever you want. And down here you've got different options you can pick. For this one, this is recommended. Here you can always, this is always good to bump it up. You can bump it up to 30, 35. Width and height is recommended for this. This is your upscaling. You can always mess around with these numbers depending on how the picture turns out. And then once you're happy with the settings, click generate. Because we're using a GPU from your Runpod, shouldn't take too long. When I ran it locally, sometimes it would take 10 to 15 minutes per picture because of my machine. That's why it's good to use a Runpod or something similar. And so here's the finished picture. Not bad, it's pretty good. That you can see the dramatic lighting coming in. That's the effect it has. Down here is the information and the options that you picked. If you wanted to, you can copy the seed and then place the seed over here. And normally it keeps the figure, it normally keeps it the same. You can change part of those other settings. So instead of a dead room, you can have living room, and then generate. As you can see, the picture looks good. The face kind of remains the same, the clothes and the colors. So that's it for this little section. Feel free to play around with the prompt to get where you want. I will try and get Flux working in here, which I haven't done before myself. But if I can get Flux working, I might do a video, or I might just put it in the blog and you can follow along that way, because there's a couple of ways of maybe getting Flux working, either Stable Diffusion or maybe in ComfyUI, but I haven't attempted them yet. So when I do, I will let you know. So here we are back in Runpod. These are all the pods as you can see. So we're going to have to go to filters. And for this one, we're going to have to pick CUDA 12.6. That's because it won't work without it. Now, some of these are unavailable and some of them are available. So the RTX 490 I sometimes go with. It's a good one, but as of right now, it's unavailable. So I'm probably going to have to go with the RTX 6000 Ada, which is also one of the recommended ones for this next pod. So I'll pick that. Type in one, and then pick this one at the top, and then deploy pod. Now this could take up to 15 to 25 minutes, just so you're aware. So I'll go to connect, and before anything, I'll go down to web terminal, start that, open web terminal, and I'll quickly run through a little example, even though I've done this in the previous. I'll just quickly run through a little example of how to do it, just so it gets more familiar. CD back, ls, CD into comfy, ls from models, CD models, and then we're going to CD into diffusion models. And then once we're in there, then I open a terminal on my computer and find my models. and then I'll be uploading this one, which you can get from Civity AI. And then you copy this, take it over to the other side, copy, paste, and it should start downloading. Now this could take anything from 20 to 25 minutes. So you come here, you go to connect to the second one down, and this should load up ComfyUI. And on the left, you go over to video, and then WAN 2.0 image to image. It'll tell you to download some models, but you don't need to. And this should be the general setup. And then you look for the models on the left, change that one to FP16. All the other settings you can change up. This one here I normally change to about 30, and this one to 7. This is to do with the seconds of the video. So 81 is about 4 seconds. So this will be 4 and a bit seconds. So I will be going a bit more in depth in my blog, because I can't go too in depth with the things that I want to show in this one because YouTube won't allow it. And so definitely check that out, because I show how to add LoRa's. I will also be putting in there using this same pod of how to use Flux for images. You don't necessarily have to use Flux for it, but I did it in here anyway. And so technically you can look for other pods and use them in there, but that'll be up to you. But you still use it in this one. You just have to upload different files to the pod. And so yeah, definitely check out the blog on my website. And this is the last of the videos. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.